Hello, my name is Augustine, and I'll be going over various tools on the Kaggle website. A quick outline of what I'll be going over is first I'll be introducing what Kaggle is and some things that you can do on Kaggle, where I got my information from, then spend a little time going over specific details about Kaggle competitions, courses, and notebooks. Finally, I'll be wrapping up the presentation with expert analysis and my analysis of Kaggle and how useful it can be. First off, what is Kaggle? Well, Kaggle is a website that is designed to help people learn and get better at machine learning and data science. There are plenty of competitions and games to help you practice different techniques. And on top of that, there's a huge sense of community on Kaggle where anyone can go and join the community and they will become better and learn new things about machine learning and data science. Now, how have I and many others used Kaggle? Well, it's a great place to practice new machine learning techniques. And I've even learned plenty of machine learning techniques on Kaggle as well. And it's a great place to be involved in the machine learning community. Now, why is it relevant to this course? Well, there are plenty of IDS competitions, very similar to the project that we had, where you have to sort of predict a sort of attack depending on some data. But it's also a great place to learn machine learning techniques that you would have to use in this course. So where did I get my information from? Well, on Kaggle, they have discussions, documentation, courses, and competitions. Now, what this means is that there's so many people talking about what they feel about Kaggle, what they feel about machine learning, how courses work, how competitions work, how notebooks work, that I looked through all the discussions and documentation, and I thoroughly learned everything from the Kaggle website itself. Now, where did I get my expert accounts? Well, looking at public discussion posts and notebooks, I was able to see countless very expert analysis of what Kaggle is like from people that use it on that website. So I'll start off by going over what is a Kaggle competition. Well, Kaggle competition is basically a machine learning competition where you're given a sample or training and testing set and a sample submission set, and you should be able to train some sort of model based off the training set, test it using the testing set, and then submit whatever the predictions are from the testing set, and you'll be given some sort of score. And whoever the person that can accurately predict the most accurate amount from the testing set, well, then they would win the competition. Some competitions have prizes, but most of them do not. One of the most popular and most used competitions on Kaggle is the Titanic competition, which is basically a machine learning competition to predict whether or not a passenger on the Titanic will survive. You get a whole bunch of different input variables from the training set, such as the gender, the age, where they were planning on boarding from, when they were planning on departing to, and many other factors that can have a role in whether or not someone would survive the Titanic. And this is a great competition for beginners. They also have plenty of competitions for IDSs. So very similar to our project, they have competitions where you have to train your data on a whole bunch of other data, like when it comes to incoming transmissions, and you have to predict what sort of attack would come from that sort of transmission. Next, I'll be going over Kaggle courses. So Kaggle has so many courses, and I've taken plenty of them. I've taken the Python Pandas and SQL and neural networks. And these are really, really, really useful courses. They teach you everything you need to know when it comes to how to use these sort of techniques for data science and machine learning. They really break it down to you, and they give you notebooks that you can work on that have been sort of filled with information, so that way you can just learn from them and you can practice. And in fact, I would not have been able to do project 2 without learning neural networks from Kaggle. The last thing I really want to go in depth on are notebooks. So notebooks, obviously you can use them outside of Kaggle, but most of the Kaggle projects can be done on notebooks in Kaggle, and the notebooks are run straight on Kaggle machines. So for example, if you don't have TensorFlow or Keras installed on your machine or something, or you have so many modules that you just don't want to install on your machine, you can open a notebook on Kaggle and you can run it using Kaggle machines. And they're built into the competition and courses, so that way you don't have to worry about having to export data and then import your data back in to test to see what you get in the competition. You can just do all your work in a notebook, and it's just very well integrated into Kaggle. Next thing I want to go over is expert analysis. So the experts believe that Kaggle is a great place to get new practice problems for beginners. And every single time you do a new competition or a new project, you're always learning some sort of new technique. And Kaggle is quite easy to use, as well as it allowing people to develop new techniques for machine learning. It's just a great inspiration for new people that want to get into machine learning to learn these different techniques and even come up with new stuff, new ways to do machine learning, which is really cool. Some things that the experts believe is not so helpful with Kaggles is that it's not really accurate to the real world. In the real world, you aren't going to get perfect data that's already been processed and ready for you to use. Another reason why experts don't like Kaggle is that they could spend hours and hours and hours working on a competition, but they'll never ever win because there are people out there that are using like more advanced techniques for that specific competition. So for example, there is no like difference between a neural network competition and decision tree competition. Whatever person, they can submit whatever model they want, and whichever one does the best wins. So most of the time, if someone's doing an advanced level machine learning against someone who's doing a very basic machine learning model, the person with the advanced model will win all the time. And another thing that Kaggle does wrong is that it encourages getting the most amount of predictions correctly over the actual algorithm used to get that. So they don't care if the model takes 5 days to run and it takes 6 days to predict the model for some reason. I don't know why they do that. As long as it gets better results than an algorithm that takes a few hours, then that model wins, which isn't necessarily how it would be in the real world. My analysis of Kaggle is that I really like the tutorials. I use many of their courses in the past, and I find it a really easy place to find some personal projects. I've done 4 or 5 different competitions, and they've been really easy to do because I just open the competition, look at my training set, build the model, and I just run it right there on Kaggle, and I try and see if I can get a good score. Some of the issues that I have with Kaggle is that if I submit a run and it wasn't that great, you don't get any feedback, so I don't really know how to get better. I can take more courses, but I feel like at some point, just getting some feedback on my exactly what I'm doing, or seeing examples of what really great runs look like for that competition would help me get better. It's kind of disheartening when I don't win, but I understand why, because I'm still kind of a beginner to machine learning. Anyways, thank you for listening.